going to give you 4 questions. You have 2 minutes to answer each question. Texas being a border state, as well as having thriving ports, as well as controlling outer space travel, as well as owning the largest biocontainment lab in the world, has some security issues. What are your plans to improve and maintain the security of the sovereign state of Texas and the United States?
You know, there are 5 ports in this district. They run throughout the district. One of the things that's a common thread for all of us is the ports, the Gulf Coast industrial region. So what you do in this district as your congressman will be to protect all parts of the district, any move that's made. And so we have to think about it holistically. And while we take care of the districts, we need to use all the assets we have. For example, we have plenty of assets in terms of drones, surveillance equipment, things like that, already available for our borders. We also, and I'm thinking now about borders before I talk to you about borders, we have to talk about ending the magnet, ending reasons for people to come to the United States illegally, because if you do that, hopefully, you only have people here that you can identify, frankly, as not having good intentions. And we need to find a better way to identify those coming in, to monitor the goods coming through our ports, through our rail system, on our planes, because they come on planes as well. It's not just through the ports, but it's an issue for all of us throughout the country to do a better job of monitoring who's coming in and out. And then once they get here, making sure we know where they are and what they're doing. Because one of the big problems we have is people overstay their visas. And we want to track them that way as well. So depending on what part of the district you're talking about, whether it's a border or a port, we have to use our assets, our resources to our best of our ability. We need to make sure we have the manpower here, not in Florida or some other place where it's not needed, and get the folks here to do the job, have the best trained people to do the jobs, put them to work for us.
Question 2. Oil, black gold, Texas tea. Even Jed Clampett understood the power of oil and natural gas in today's society. Texas sits on some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world. Our Gulf is dotted with thousands of oil rigs. Our refineries distill millions of gallons of gasoline and fuel. As Congressman from the 14th District of Texas, what energy policy will you support?
One of the biggest problems we have in America right now is we don't have a comprehensive energy policy. Without a comprehensive energy policy, we can't secure our future. So the first thing we do is work together to find the ways to exploit the resources we have, reduce our dependence on foreign oil, to improve our security. Because if we're relying on everyone else to supply our oil or refine oil for us, then we can't be secure. I don't know about you, I drove past gas at $3.66 a gallon last night at Beaumont until I got it at $3.49 right down the street. We've got a problem with people having to pay too much to live in this country. And if we have to pay too much to live, we can't consume. If we can't consume, we don't have jobs. So our energy policy has to be tied to improving the world around us so we can have jobs and free up resources. Keystone Pipeline is a great example of a disastrous lack of policy. That what happens when you don't have a policy that's comprehensive. We should have the Keystone Pipeline. It should be coming here now. We've been refining oil in southeast Texas for over 100 years, and we know how to do it safely. This district, incredibly, has the power and the ability to speak in a unified voice and take 40% of the nation's jet fuel production, 20% of the nation's automobile fuel production, 80% of the exotic fuel production for our military, and have someone speaking on behalf of this district to get a comprehensive energy policy for our country.
Question 3. The current president and the past Congress shoved a health care policy down our throats that is wasteful and unconstitutional. If elected, what specific steps will you take to not just undo this catastrophe, but to provide the world's best health care policy?
Well, first of all, I will join in any efforts to repeal Obamacare. I don't think that's a question that you'll hear anything different from any of us that'll be here tonight. The problem with Obamacare is deep-seated. First of all, the folks who voted on it in favor of it, most of them didn't even read it, and they openly acknowledged that. Obamacare also doesn't address the problems we have. It's got thousands and thousands of regulations that have yet to be written, vetted, or approved. We have no idea how to make our healthcare policy decisions or our hiring decisions for that matter, because employers don't know how much it'll cost to hire people in the future. So we've got to have a comprehensive system, but we can do it differently. We don't have to fix everything with one plan. That was the problem. They got in a hurry because they wanted to cram it down everyone's throats, as you said, Judge, before the interim election. And that was wrong. We need access to health care for everyone in America. That access isn't the same as a guarantee. The people who are here legally deserve to have good health care and quality health care, but the system can be preserved without necessarily making everyone pay an exorbitant amount for a system that the government runs. It doesn't work in Britain, it doesn't work in Canada. You know, folks over in Europe question themselves, they say, we would love to have a system like America. Why can't we? But then the folks in America keep wanting a system like Europe's. It makes no sense. We need a healthcare system that allows patients to make decisions for themselves and assures us good quality health care while fairly compensating those who participate in the system for the future.
Question 4. Economics deals with unlimited demand and limited supply. Our country's current handling of our government's budget does not reflect the understanding of a limited supply. CD14 has its share of special projects, also known as earmarks or pork. How will you balance the needs of your constituents against the need for a balanced budget?
The question of earmarks is a very difficult one for us because, unfortunately, that's the way the system as it's currently in place works. That's not necessarily bad in one sense. At least your congressman's making the decision. But it's not good either. And we have an appropriations process that doesn't work. And it forces people to use earmarks to get special projects done. You know, the government can provide good things for our communities, and it should. It should provide NASA. It should provide the world's most important, disease studying facility that you have down there at UTMB. I've seen it, it's impressive. It's also scary when you think about what they have there. It's in our nation's best interest to have that type of facility in this community or in the country itself. But we need to prioritize our spending in a way that allows for those types of decisions, to preserve a NASA, to preserve our education system, to preserve important projects like roads to get down to our ports and rail systems to accommodate them, to deepen and widen them for larger ships to come in and out. But we need to also have a prioritization system that gets rid of the other stuff, the pork that doesn't do anything, the bridges to nowhere. I favor a line item veto, Judge. I favor a process that allows us to hold our Congress and our executive accountable for what they do. Thank you.
Thank you, J.O.